social, cultural, and political organization regarded as Ohaneze Ndigbo has brought so much shame, disregard, and disrepute to the Igbo race. It's quite unfortunate.
You know, Nigeria is such a funny place. I saw this headline. It says Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer, Ejimakor, tackles Ohaneze for asking Tinubu for political pardon for IPOB leader when he's not convicted. You know, let me just even drop my glasses here. On what basis is anyone asking for a political pardon or whatever it is pardon? How do you arrest somebody because he said, oh, his people no longer want to be part of Nigeria? Then why don't you do a referendum? So he hasn't done any kind. So which pardon is anybody asking for? Why do we allow, this is the thing I hate so much about, when Nigeria, like, oh, let it be, let it go, let it just be. No, there's nothing like let something go. What is right, what is wrong, and things have to be done the right way. When you're asking Tinubu to come and pardon him now, what crime did he commit? What was he convicted of that you are now asking for a pardon? What did he do that he's been forgiven for? Why are you asking for a political pardon for someone who hasn't done anything wrong? What did he do wrong? Yes, my people said they don't want to be part of Nigeria again. We want IPOB. Fine and good. All you need to do, why don't we have a referendum? But let me not even get over myself. Let me come back, to the statement. I totally am in support of Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer. The appeal has been made by Chief Damian Okeke-Ogene, the National Vice President of Ohaneze Ndigbo in Awka, Anambra State Capital on Tuesday while addressing journalists in the state. Barrister Aloy Ejimakor, special lawyer to the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, has countered the Apex Igbo socio-cultural organization Ohaneze Ndigbo's request that President Bola Tinubu, not my president anyway, should grant Kanu political pardon as part of Nigeria's 64th independence anniversary. Do they even understand what this means? By the time they say, okay, they should grant you political pardon so that he will leave the prison and go, it will mean that he committed a crime. It will mean that he's accepting that he committed a crime. What? Does it make sense for you to say, because there is independence, let them pardon him so that he live there? But then it is now put in place that he had committed some crime. He hasn't committed a crime. The court hasn't, the court has not come out to convict him of anything. So why is it? If Nigeria, if there's a law in Nigeria that says that if you decide that we want to leave Nigeria, then bring that law, let everybody see it. And why are we not even sitting there, by the way, and having a Nigerian conversation? Why are we still yoked together? Let people come together. If they do a referendum and then the Southeast vote that they want to leave Nigeria, fine and good. Let them leave Nigeria. If the Northwest vote they want to leave Nigeria, every vote they want to leave Nigeria, let them leave Nigeria. Then if they say voting and then when they do a referendum, the voting does not show that people want to leave, then you can go and tell Nnamdi Kanu, go and sit down, my friend, go and look for job to do. The people that you say they want to leave, they don't want to leave. Simple as ABCD. Why is that not the issue that should be put in our constitution? Why is the constitutional amendment not giving room for a referendum? You're keeping someone, you're holding him, you've gone to bring him. In the first place, what was the arrest for Nnamdi Kanu for? He was talking, he not his mouth, he was using to talk. Buhari just went and just carried him, and then that became an issue. Leave him to be talking his talk.
The vice president of Ohaneze Ndigbo should be calling on the president Ahmed Bola Tinubu to pardon Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. And this have raised so much concern. How could you be begging that the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra should be pardoned? On what circumstances has any court within the Nigerian legal jurisprudence indicted Mazi Nnamdi Kanu of any known crime within the Nigerian state? To this end, of course, the lead counsel to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, Aloy Ejimakor, wrote to Ohaneze Ndigbo asking and demanding of what offense was Mazi Nnamdi Kanu guilty of that should warrant Ohaneze Ndigbo to discredit the entire Igbo race, to insult the intelligence of the Igbo race, and to reduce the reputation of Igbo race, dragging it to the mud. This is not just the first time. In fact, I felt so embarrassed, insulted, and very annoyed at these childish behaviors exhibited repeatedly by the so-called Ohaneze Ndigbo. Why should Nnamdi Kanu be granted pardon by the state? Of what offense? Just as, of course, the lead counsel, Ejimakor, have written to them to respond to that very important subject. You will always think of state pardon when someone is convicted of any crime, of course, within the prerogative of the executive. At certain instances or occasions, might want to pardon such person using, of course, his prerogative and his position, constitutionally, of course, privilege to pardon such offenders or criminals, whatever the case is. But what offense has Nnamdi Kanu committed that demands, of course, state pardon? No wonder Aisha Yusuf, a woman from the northern hemisphere, a female folk, is now tutoring, educating the Ohaneze Ndigbo, Mr. Daniel Okeke Ogene, and his lies for insulting the entire Igbo race, for dragging the Igbo race to the mud. I begin to ask, of what essence, of what importance, of what purpose is Ohaneze social cultural or political, social political organization are doing, are representing? What purpose are they or interests are they representing? It's quite unfortunate, very unfortunate, demeaning, insulting, embarrassing that the Igbo race have lost its relevance in the political and economic sphere within the Nigeria. And the so-called people who claim to be representing the interests of the Igbos are bastardizing, I mean, discrediting, insulting, embarrassing, dragging the entire Igbo race to mud. Unfortunately, they ended up this dragging themselves to the mud, not the Igbo where I belong to. Ndigbo are known for their, of course, excellence, performance. Ndigbo are known for justice and equity. They stood and continue to stand for the truth. They are known for the truth. They are not known for playing hanky panky or seeking, of course, relevance or seeking people's attention or trying to impress people just for political or cheap recognition or gains. But Ohaneze have not lived up to this, of course, expectations. And no wonder, of course, none of the Igbo extraction or illustrious daughters and sons of the Igbo will regard the so-called socio-cultural organization. It is very distasteful, it is disgusting and unrealistic. Why should you dabble into a situation, a case you have not underscored? You don't even know from your left from the right. Granting Nnamdi Kanu state pardon on the basis that he has been convicted of any known crime is the call for self-determination, a crime under the Nigerian Constitution. Nigerian Constitution recognizes the rights of the people, of individuals, or group of persons to their own political affiliations and future. Self-recognition is recognized in Nigeria, where people's cultural, of course, affiliations, ideologies, and even beliefs should be preserved. Identity, preservation of identity is enshrined in the Nigerian Constitution. It has not been abolished or abrogated. So someone calling for self-recognition, self, of course, preservation is not a crime. He said no. With the circumstances and the prevailing circumstances within the Nigerian social, political, and economic space, we have considered, of course, the foregoing to be threatening the existence of our people and our cultural heritage and interests. We want to move on. People who say they want to move on, is it a crime? Just as Aisha have responded to the gullible Ohaneze Shindiama. For the first time, I'm using the word to address them. You are not representing me as an Igbo man, and I strongly believe that you are not representing the entirety of the Igbo race in any respect, in any capacity, be it social, political, and of course economic matters that borders on the Igbos. Whether you have become a source of ridicule, a source of insult, humiliation, and desecration to the entire Igbo culture, Igbo values, Igbo representation, and Igbo, of course, child ideology. Now, Aisha has responded to you. On what basis should you demand or appeal, beg that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should be pardoned, to be given state pardon? Somebody who receives state pardon or amnesty is somebody who has been indicted of one crime or the other. So you have convicted and indicted Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. That is what it is. Even without any court of legal jurisprudence uh, raising such accusation. It's quite unfortunate. It's quite unfortunate. These are the same people who go about canvassing, gallivanting, saying they are doing all they could to ensure the release of Nnamdi Kanu. What you are begging is for state pardon. That is a convicted criminal that needed to be killed, but you are appealing, of course, for the prerogative of mercy. Where does that happen? No, that is the question. The lead counsel, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and of course, the woman activist, Aisha, has torn on you shameless people, shameless individuals. I feel so much ashamed. It means you are not conversant with the legal proceedings and, of course, the litigations that is going on. On what kind of indictment has Mazi Nnamdi Kanu been convicted of? What kind of crime or allegation? For me, of course, I do agree with Aisha Yusuf that he is just being persecuted. Is it a crime, as Aisha said? And which, of course, I maintain to us that we don't want to be alone. We don't want to be together again. Is it a crime? If someone said they don't want to identify with you, will you go ahead and now crucify the person? If you are the one holding the person's life, now allow him to go now so that you will not supply the life again or source of livelihood to the person. Allow the person to go. If you think the person is not relevant, if you think the people are not relevant to you, to your existence, they don't contribute and they can be integrated within the Nigerian, of course, social, political, and economic matters, and given a chance to live out their own aspirations and, of course, compete favorably within the society, allow them to go. The Igbo should allow the Igbos, the entire Biafrans, to go. If you think that they are not an integral part of Nigeria by the actions and antecedents meted against them, you should let them go. By the way, there are 5 functional seaports in the eastern region. Why are they not functioning? Why are they not allowed to function? There are no viable international airports. You must come down all the way from over there traverse several kilometers, millions of kilometers down to either Lagos, down to Abuja, before you can board an international flight. Where on earth does that happen? Enugu is big enough to have her own international airport. Likewise, Imo State. Anambra the same. Considering the number of importers, people who are dealers, manufacturers, captains of industries from those extractions, they should have been given some concessions, very uh, special concessions and considerations, citing international airports, citing other facilities and infrastructures that will ease their activities and movements. But that had not happened. So you want people to still believe that you can suppress them, you can beat them, and allow them not to cry again. So Ohaneze and Ndigbo should apologize and tender unreserved apology to Nnamdi Kanu for insulting his person and, of course, disregarding his fundamental rights to self-defense and to justice. Where is the justice there? If Nigeria claims they practice democracy, the rule of law, then allow the rule of law to take its place. You can't usurp people's rights to defend themselves, rights to justice, right to fair hearing, right to uninterference in their judicial process or litigations. And you want them to go and apologize. Are you God? Of course, the president, with due respect, once a time, 30 years ago, said he never believed in one Nigeria. He was not killed or imprisoned for saying that. So Mazi Nnamdi Kanu wasn't the first person to say he does not believe in the continued existence of Nigeria. If Nigeria deem it necessary to release, continue to exist, let them go on. But for him and his own people, they have made up their mind to leave, and that you can take from them. They are acting within the international defined laws. Quit Nigeria, of course, is a signatory to, just as the vice president Kashim Shettima confirmed at the just concluded United Nations General Assembly, where he categorically stated unequivocally that freedom is an inalienable right of any people, natural entitlement that cannot be denied any people. He emphasized that with all sense of emphasis and responsibility. I know that he might not, of course, be living up to the responsibility or whatever he has professed before, of course, the international communities. But that, of course, is an indictment because he is representing Nigeria. And if he have made that, whether in error or by way of by excessive, of course, trying to defend a particular interest, well, that word is an unambiguous and is well stated, and that is just nothing but the truth. As it applies to the Palestinians, of course, the vice president was canvassing, and by extension, Nigeria was canvassing for, of course, the independent state of Palestine. That is the inalienable rights, natural entitlement that cannot be denied. Likewise, the Biafrans or the indigenous people of Biafra. That is what, of course, the law says. And that is what the vice president quoted about the law. The law is very straightforward, except we don't want to tell ourselves the truth. We just want to subjugate and, of course, uh, uh, sit on the law because we claim that, of course, we are within the corridor of it is not done anywhere. You choose those you could, of course, apply the law and those you could subjugate, regardless of the position of the law. It is never done, of course, anywhere. And that can be an exception. So it's quite unfortunate and very insulting, disgusting to hear that submission coming from Ohaneze and Ndigbo. That is, of course, not just the first time they are insulting the entire Igbo race, and of course, the right of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, his right to his fundamental right to freedom and justice is quite unfortunate. But I think this kind of people should be ashamed of themselves. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of your antecedents, misrepresentations. You should have studied the court proceedings. If you don't know what to say, you better keep silent. People might mistake you to be wise. You can't continue to insult even the proceedings. Several court injunctions has been ruled in favor of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Some courts have asked Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the Nigerian, Nigerian government to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. But for whatever reason best to them, they are threatened. Of course, the relevance is being threatened. Should Mazi Nnamdi Kanu be released? But that is not the way to go. It's not the way to go. Africa must move forward. We must evolve. Other nations of the world are emerging. They're developing, leaving us far behind, leaving this part of the world very far behind. There can't be any, of course, development without regards to the rule of law. Regardless of whose ours is called, the rule of law must take its course. If you want to build a viable system, a healthy system, and if you want, of course, to remember for good, you must do what is right. Even though that does not, of course, protect your interests. What is right is right. And of course, there is greater honor and acceptance and to write your name in the book of honors, in the book of history. You must do what is right. And generations of born will remember you for that. I hope the president, with due respect, will understand this and act accordingly. Let him go. Let him go. And if there's any compensation, if that becomes necessary, he should be compensated and allowed to go. Or otherwise, let referendum be conducted as, of course, many people have been canvassing. Even Aisha Yusuf also pointed out, if you think that it is not relevant, that it is not, of course, representing the interests of the generality of the Igbo race, conduct a referendum so that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should be put to shame, so that people will vote no to Biafran restoration. But if you think that is in solidarity, just of course with the people, allow them to go. Perhaps letting them go will also make you free yourself. You are a prisoner of conscience. Letting them go, of course, will also free yourself from this mental slavery of subjugation. Because my people do say, when you are holding somebody on the ground, you are on the ground with the person. And one thing is very certain, you may cover up the truth for generations, for decades, but you can't bury the truth forever. The truth is that the system is not working, it is not healthy, does not integrate, of course, or foster progress, unity, and prosperity for all. So, such acrimony, hate, sentiments, I mean, tribalism, and nepotism cannot foster peace, unity, and progress. Boko Haram is ravaging the entire north, installing their own government, imposing taxations on the indigenous loc- communities in the northern hemisphere, calling for their own Islamic state. Is it not time to address these fundamental issues bordering on the existence of Nigeria? I still maintain and lend my voice to other people who are calling for referendum. Peaceful referendum should be conducted, and if it becomes necessary, just as Justice uh, Abakoba said, that if there's nothing wrong, if Nigerians decide to part ways, it is their right. Nigeria is nobody's father's name. It's nobody's property. Let the right thing be done. Of course, humanity and posterities are waiting. Whatever you do, you definitely will reap, whether good or bad. But it's better to be in the good book of history. Well, unfortunately, again, Ohaneze Ndigbo, by my own opinion or suggestion, should be disbanded in the entire Igbo race, in the entire Igbo existence. This is not the Ohaneze Ndigbo that we all desire of long for. I rest my case. Let's know what is your own reactions, of course, regarding this development, and of course the way forward. But for me, that is my candid opinion. I do agree, of course, with the submissions of the late counsel, Aloy Ejimakor, and Aisha Yusuf. It was very unfortunate, very insulting for you to have allowed a woman to tell you what you should have known. My people do say, okay, but that is just the case with this so-called Ohaneze and Ndigbo. It's a disappointment, just to say the least.